Very interesting. Now, coming up tonight at 7 o'clock Eastern Time, 4 o'clock Pacific, you're going to have a really interesting story with this guy, including showing what these weapons were, right?
Exactly. We can show you the type of weapons that were actually used and the weapons that we believe and that he believes they actually wanted to use. Very frightening.
All right. Well, we'll look forward to that tonight. We'll be watching. Thanks a lot. Lots of stuff breaking today, clearly. In just a moment, we got to hit a commercial break, but when we come back, we're going to update you on the very latest as we know it. It now appears that at some point in the future, someone may be charged as an accessory to all of this. Police are dancing around it a little bit. They have a very tough job here when trying to provide as much information as they can to a public which is obviously starving for it, while not jeopardizing their own investigation. The most important thing here, say the police, is if someone else was involved with this, we got to get them locked up. And if we say too much before then, we may not be able to. Much more on the investigation, and then we'll head on with the rest of the night's programming. Some programming notes coming up as well. Stay tuned.
Have you noticed that ads for 125-second mortgages have all but disappeared? Wall Street has decided it's too risky for you to borrow more than your home is worth.
At Ditech, we still believe in you, whether you have good credit or not so good credit. Our second mortgages will help you lower your monthly payments and improve your credit rating.
Just call 1-800-71-FIXED.
At Ditech, we know you live on Main Street, not Wall Street.
Call Ditech now at 1-800-71-FIXED.
Now breathe in the exotic scent of the tropics. Here and here. We've captured it in tropical bloom, Downey's lush new floral scent. Give clothes the exotic freshness of a tropical garden and the softness of a petal. Experience Downey's new tropical bloom, now blooming everywhere.
Do you have to cope with frequent urination and the urgent need to urinate day and night? So do lots of men over 50. Only your doctor can tell if these symptoms are due to an enlarged prostate and not a more serious condition such as prostate cancer. If you have urinary symptoms and are diagnosed with an enlarged prostate, ask your doctor about Flomax, a prescription medicine specifically designed to help relieve these symptoms. Call now for your free educational booklet plus a $5 rebate offer. The most common side effects of Flomax are a decrease in semen, stuffy nose, and dizziness. Also, a sudden decrease in blood pressure could occur upon standing, resulting in rare instances of fainting. So when starting Flomax, avoid situations where injury could result. Ask your doctor about possible drug interactions. Flomax, specifically designed to help relieve symptoms of an enlarged prostate. See your doctor for product information or call 1-888-304-3344.
The conflict in Kosovo. After months of investigation, it's the end of deliberations. Do they now know her killer? And will the evidence stand up in court? Fox News correspondent Carol McKinley has live updates and reports of events as they unfold. Stay with the Fox News channel for continuing coverage. The John Benet Ramsey case.
Here is the latest as we know it from Littleton, Colorado. A gun shop owner now says that, in fact, Eric Harris and the girlfriend of the other suspect came in and tried to buy a boatload of high-powered weaponry, about $12,000 worth. They were underage. The guy wouldn't let them. Said he had a videotape which might have them on it. The cops say they're not on there, but they say that the report is credible. The 18-year-old girl, Robin Anderson, who was questioned by police, is not a suspect, only a witness. But we now know that she did purchase 2 weapons which were used in the commission of this crime. Does that mean that charges against her may be coming? Police say that is entirely possible. A videotape in the cafeteria has been sent to the FBI, but local authorities do have a copy, according to the Assistant Deputy DA or Chief Deputy DA, who tells Fox News it's not going to be a lot of help on the investigative front. And important to remember, as the investigation goes on, 3 more funerals today for those who never made it out of the school alive. Coming up at 7 o'clock Eastern Time, 4 Pacific, the Fox Report with Paul Azan. All the news from across the nation, including comprehensive Team Fox coverage from here. Tonight at 11 Eastern Time, 8 Pacific, a Fox News special, Terror in the Rockies, a complete update of all the day's events. I'm Shepard Smith in Littleton. Our business report is next. Good day.
How a Dow that? Another record high for the Dow as the blue chips inch closer to 11,000. Plus, how costly is the conflict in Kosovo? We'll ask former Defense Secretary Donald Rumsfeld. And no more toying around. Toys R Us is on the e-tail trail. First, the headlines.
Fox News Now, I'm Jane Skinner. America's weekend warriors are being called into action. President Clinton authorized the call-up of just over 33,000 reservists. The call-up is expected to begin with 2,000 Air Force Reserve and Air National Guard crews from 8 states. They'll be used to support refueling operations for the NATO airstrikes on Yugoslavia. President Clinton sent new gun legislation to Congress today. The proposed laws raise the legal age for owning a handgun from 18 to 21 and make parents liable if their kids use guns to commit a crime.
Do we know for absolutely certain that if we'd had every reasonable law than the ones I'm going to propose here, that none of these school violence things would have happened? No. But we do know one thing for certain. We know there would have been fewer of them, and there would have been fewer kids killed in the last several years in America. We know that for certain. We know that.
There was silence across Colorado at 11:21 this morning. That is the time the gunfire started at Columbine High School 1 week ago. And police in Washington, D.C. did not take any chances with a bomb threat today. They evacuated 146 schools in the District of Columbia. That's about 72,000 students. It was the second day in a row that some D.C. schools were closed because of anonymous threats. And we will have another news update for you at the bottom of the hour. And coming up next, the Cavuto Business Report. Stay with us.
Holy Dow, the bull is back, carrying the blue chips into record territory. Hi, everybody. I'm Karen Gibbs, in for Neil Cavuto. Investors taking some cash out of the high-flying technology sector and putting it into more cyclical stocks. Stocks like Alcoa, Caterpillar, and DuPont, which tend to move up as the economy revs up. The Dow revving up 113 points to a new record, now less than 170 points shy of the 11,000 mark. Big Blue also helping lift the blue chips, IBM adding another point after announcing a 2-for-1 stock split. Those shares closing at a new all-time high today. Elsewhere, the S&P 500 adding close to 3 for yet another record. And the Amex also at a new all-time high. It's third in a week after not hitting a record for over a year. Transport slipped 13 points, hurt by a disappointing earnings report from airborne freight. Utilities jumping 3, the big board adding more than 4 to a new record on volume of 888 million shares. The NASDAQ up 5 days in a row, down about 50 points today on profit-taking. And the 30-year bond was better by 18 ticks, sending the yield down to 5.53%. Well, the markets are on a roll. Let's find out why from Ash Reagan. He's director at Prudential Securities. Hi, Ash.
Hello, Karen. How are you?
I'm great, and so is this market. Now, we got good consumer confidence numbers. Is it the consumer confidence that's making the stock market go higher, or is the stock market making the consumer confidence go higher?
It's, frankly, I think you put the question right. It's the horse and the cart analogy. The consumer has to be revving, and certainly he or she is. It's reflecting in our retail sales, but I think the top of the line agenda is investor confidence, and the investor is certainly confident, certainly cheerful, and should be the way this market's going.
We've seen some very nice earnings reports coming out. Is it because we lowered our expectations so badly, or is this really showing that these companies are putting in some great numbers?
Frankly, we should give our earnings reports a little more credit. You did address the fact that expectations were low, and that was certainly the case with some of the companies. But what is happening here is Asia is recontributing to the pool, and certainly the stabilization in Brazil is helping the scenario as well. That's working. And two, because we went through a lag with Asia the last 1.5 years, companies have become even more productive, even more focused on revenue gains and cost expense control, and that's showing up in the earnings right now, Karen.
Well, Ash, we've been in an economic bull cycle for 8 years. How come the cyclicals are just waking up to it? Why are we seeing this rotation out of technology sector?
Well, think about this. Certainly we had a very, very robust economy, but certainly the party was only happening in the States. The rest of the world was sort of gawking at this robust economy we had here. The rest of the world was hurting, frankly. frankly, specifically in Asia and certainly in Latin America. So you could not expand this to a global cycle and allow the cyclicals to move. Right now, we're beginning to see some tangible responses from Asia and South America, and therefore you're seeing some tangible spurts, if you will, in the cyclical rally. Yet, it's not enough for me to be convinced to wash my hands off technology or the internet. I'm still committed to these names. Yes, I'm looking at the cyclicals, but certainly technology, telecommunications, and the internet is on the top of my list.
Oh, what companies would you be buying, and what would you be selling also?
Well, let's take the buy list first. AOL reported right after the close was a fabulous number. You'll see that stock strengthen up tomorrow, and certainly that'll pull the rest of the net, and certainly pull the technology that was in profit taking today. I would buy the backbone of the net. Companies like Cisco, companies like Intel, Oracle, anything that supports the net, even telecommunications companies like Lucent and WorldCom would be on the top of my list.
All right, Ash Reagan, Prudential Securities Director, thanks very much for joining us.
Karen, you're welcome.
Well, we could be in for another rally tomorrow. America Online putting up some big numbers after the market closed, just as Ash said. Total revenues hit a record $1.3 billion. Ad revenues and e-commerce revenues up a record 119%. Now, AOL's profits also at a record $117 million, or 11 cents a share. Now, that's 2 cents more than expected and nearly 3 times year-ago earnings. Now, just a week ago, AOL said membership topped 17 million. Toss in the 2 million members of its CompuServe unit, AOL has more than 19 million folks signed up around the globe. Ahead of that, AOL shares had fallen more than 5 points, but remember, it had been up a lot this week before the news. Well, as for today, that rally fueled by some big profit news out of AT&T. The phone company's earnings were 39% higher, easily beating estimates thanks to a jump in its wireless and corporate phone business. AT&T also teaming with Japan's Nippon Telephone and Telegraph to expand its international service. And while its stock was up only 1/16 of a point, it was easily the most heavily traded stock on the street. DuPont's profits were also better than expected, and even though they were down a lot from a year ago, the chemical concern said profits for the year should be a lot better than thought. That sent DuPont's stock climbing 2.5 points, and it gave a boost to those cyclical stocks we talked about so much last week, like Alcoa, Caterpillar, and United Technologies. But the street was down on Disney. The house the mouse built didn't do so well. Video sales were down, merchandise sales were down, profits were down. And even though those earnings matched estimates, the stock was down. Disney sliding about 2.5 points. Well, Park Place Entertainment just placed what may be the biggest bet in its history. The casino concern laying out $3 billion in cash to buy Caesars World from Starwood Hotels. Now that includes the Caesars in Vegas, Atlantic City, Lake Tahoe, and the Sheraton Casino in Mississippi. Now, with this deal, Park Place, spun off from Hilton last year, will have interest in 29 casinos around the world. With 28,000 hotel rooms, Park Place picked up more than 2 points today, while Starwood shed about 0.5 point. And Toys R Us taking on a bigger gamble on the internet. The company turning its website into a separate unit and forming a partnership with Benchmark Capital, which invests in online companies and knows something about e-commerce. The idea, fight off the competition and do something to boost sagging sales and puny profits. Shares of Toys R Us were up about 0.5 point today. CEO Robert Nakasone joins us in our next half hour. But still ahead tonight, the latest on the conflict in Kosovo. More reservists are called into action, and congressional Republicans are expected to up the price tag on the military operation. We'll have reaction from former Defense Secretary Donald Rumsfeld right after this.
The Cavuto Business Report is brought to you by Oldie, America's full-service discount broker.
Life is short. You can't spend all your time analyzing investments, but you don't want to spend your money on high commissions either. Oldie can help. As the first major brokerage firm to offer investment advice and commission savings, Oldie will help you make solid investment decisions and save as well, so you can have more time.